Going on, guys? What's cracking? So, more parts once again back in the garage. So, stuff from PHR this time. Not doing an unboxing this time. I had already unboxed it, couldn't help myself. Wanted to go ahead and say, Lance or Tyler, I'm going to kick you in the nuts. They rickrolled me. So if you scan that rickrolls you. You get a link to YouTube. Thank God YouTube now has so many dang ads, probably just like my videos popped up, that it played the ad before I could even get rickrolled. So, that's on you, Lance and Tyler. Win's a win, you know, win's a win. Anyways, ton of parts. There's a piece I already kind of installed there from PHR, and this is just the beginning of it. Now, some of the stuff isn't from PHR, like these titanium bolts are from Bear Boost Performance. I know he's currently out of stock. I'm not sure he's going to get them back in. I was going to use dress-up bolts here. Unfortunately, the black dress-up bolts do not work here. The reason they don't work is they have too big of a flange and they won't fit inside of here. So I'm using these 12 points from Bear Boost. They're actually studs. I actually put the washer in there too to keep it up a little bit, make it a little bit easier. They're 14 millimeters thread, 12 points. Plus, they just look cool. That's what I have on Cat's now. These are their tops. So these are the shock tops, which I have on Cat's car. There's the O-rings. I just have it sitting like this for right now because I'm going to install that, then put the top on after the fact. And it does tell you this, make sure you please lubricate the ring, which I did find out, like, you have to, because it takes some serious to get these on, but they don't want them flying off because they are just like it says, pressed on. Love the finish on this. It came out really, really nice. We'll see. I had to cut down the top of my coilovers, and like they said, they would have made me custom ones last time, but I don't want to do that. I want it to fit under there, so I have to like kind of slice down the very top of this, just a smidget for it to fit under there. And it doesn't affect anything. You just slowly cut it down. I put a nut down below here, small nut, and then just move the nut off so it keeps the threads clean. But just to fit under the covers, this is unusual. My other ones fit under there, no problem. It's just these ones with these long stems or a problem. I really haven't had an issue with anything else. Really like those. On top of that, we also have the power steering rack bushings. So it comes with all these bolts you see here for the one side. So this solid mounted. I had poly bushings before, which are over there. I'm probably going to swap that onto her car because it's still factory. And the reason I want to go solid was everyone I talked to, this is the one area where going solid doesn't really add any extra NVH, just stiffens up the front. The car definitely pulls. It doesn't feel perfect. Reason why I want to keep that tight and sway bar, try and do this. I'm hoping new bushings, everything. I'm hoping this helps keep the car a little bit taunter. The car is already loud, clunky. I'm past the point of keeping this car nice and smooth and perfect. That car the goal is to keep that, you know, livable. This one is pretty much street car, race car. It has all the amenities, but it's going to make more noise, so on and so forth. I'll make a video on this. I'll probably start installing the bushings here today. A lot of these items, though, I can't install until I get the engine in, unfortunately. This is the lower rad hose also. So this is the silicone hose. There's a push-on hose that goes to the bottom of the engine. As long as you also have the PowerHouse Racing rotator, it pops onto this. Now, this is designed for, as you can see here, it's hitting. This is designed for the twin turbo water neck that comes down. This is the NA one. I don't know what to do with the twin turbo one. Had this one powder coated, thinking it might work. I was wrong. Move this out of the way. That needs to be the longer version of it. But I really have been debating about going AN. I have the fittings and stuff. I might actually return this or, you know, have to sell it or whatever. Keeping this, of course, but I have the fittings in line. I could get the PHR hard pipe, which I have that now too, and do it again. I'm just really debating because I'm gonna use the PHR radiator too. They have the PHR rotator neck that comes down here that I can attach directly to it. So that's kind of my debate right now, where I'm kind of in limbo of what to do. I'd like to come to your feedback there, guys, but I'm pretty sure I want to do it already now. Once Twan, super biologist on Super Forums, kind of like got in my ear, which I should know better, and I'm like, I already have the black pipe. I have the PHR couplers here too, which Sam was kind enough to send. So I'm like debating whether doing that or not yet. We'll see. I'll let you guys fill me in. But I do have this billet water neck. This is what I was going to use. Comes with a new O-ring in here, and it also has these bolts that comes with it. I usually put titanium there like I did my wife's, but stainless steel bolts is completely fine. I'm just extra as extra gets. It is billet and then welded in one section here, and then this is anodized black, not powder coated, which I do like. And then it has the ports on the bottom of it here. As you can see, this is the 1/8 inch MBT single wire. This goes to your factory gauges on the dash. So your dash and your ECU uses two different sensors. Just how old school this stuff is done. Newer cars aren't this way, but old school, this single wire runs up to the dash to show temperature. This has, I guess, a rating that reads up to dash. Make sure you buy an OEM Toyota. Tried the advanced autos and AutoZones. 3 different ones, never read right. buy OEM, it's 25 bucks, do it once, be done, not deal with the headache I did. And then it has the M12 by 1.5 thread here like factory does. I bought an adapter because I'm going to be using not the factory sensor, but I'm going to be using a Raceworks pressure and temperature sensor because I want to see the pressure in case the car starts to lift the head. I can have the ECU go shut the car off because you're starting to lift the head, Ryan, you're going to cause a kaboom. So I'll be running that on there. Gives you plenty of room too. That's the one thing with the AEM or the AN version. It puts the port here and you're limited by space, which I'll show you guys here. Again, this is the nice part about having almost every PHR part. As you can see here, that is the AN version. Love it, black, and you can see the titanium I did there. Now, if you can see there, I had to actually extend the line a little bit. See there, there's where the sensor sits, and see how close. To realistically take the sensor out, I have to take the water neck off. What you could do is put a 90-degree fitting that comes off to put the sensor sitting out, but doesn't look as clean. Again, it's me being a ricer more than anything. The single wire is easy to get to and install. It's just that one there. So they make a 90-degree M12 by 1.5 to MPT. That's something you can absolutely buy. But yeah, that's completely up to you. Love that. So I'm debating on doing that to do an entire AN fitting setup. Red Horse was very good to me for quite some time, but Raceworks is now taking over as my AN sponsor. Big shout out to them. So I'll be switching this car 100% to Raceworks fittings, lines, everything of that nature. Without sponsors, this channel isn't possible. So big shout out to you, Raceworks. I really appreciate the support. And big shout out to PHR. Without you guys, except Lance, Sam, Brian, David over there, you guys are fantastic. I like to even screw about Lance stuff, but everyone's very kind to me. Sam and I talk more about our kids than anything. When you become a father, that's kind of what you do. So I really appreciate it. So I want to kind of get these pressed in. I'll show you guys my rack over here. Got a really nice rack for you. Yeah, get it? Dad jokes, I'm terrible. And get this installed. These I can't do. It is what it is. Again, let's just show you on the wife's. Every car needs these. So I have those 12 points on it also. This is the PHR. Now the old one used to have this black logo. Mine has the silverish looking logo. Again, you can see it keeps everything hidden. If you need to, it's got a little slot in it there. You can put a wrench. You can put a flathead and pop that off, so you do not need to unbolt it to get to an adjustment of any sort, just an FYI. That's up to you, and it is machined to fit. So if you guys notice, this has dips and valleys here, right? If this was a flat piece, there'd be openings. So this is actually machined properly. Let's take some of these. Give me a second here. Take that off. Go ahead and take that off. That off. Do 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 do. Come on, Ryan. Really? That one there. This, as you can see, is machined to fit in those pocketed areas. So there we go, like so. So you can see, it actually is machined to fit in those pockets. So see how that's machined out there? It's hard to see on camera with the lighting, but it's machined to fit in that divot and come up, machined to come back down, so on and so forth. Very well done. Some other ones that are out there aren't like that, just a flat piece. Again, it seems dumb, but it helps keep it structurally sound, keeps it from destroying your paint and destroying the metal and distorting it. Very good design, very well thought out. PHR, what else do you guys need to know? Anyways, let's start it with this and go from there. Now, one thing I recommend when doing this, boom, 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 put these in the deep freezer. And this freezer will have to suffice for right now. The reason you do that, it helps shrink up the metal. So it's already cold out here, but let's go ahead, stack those there, shrink those up a little bit. Just get some food in there. Makes it easier to push in now. They're machined pretty darn close, but I wanted to slide in as easy as possible. I don't want to have to hammer it as hard if I don't have to. They do press in. I'm going to, I guess, grease this up a little bit too to make it a little bit easier, but it should be fine. You can tell too. Painted the rack there. Turned out pretty decent. Again, I didn't need it perfect, but it was just looking crusty. Still works perfectly fine. So I figured I'd spray it. Have some of the fittings already in it there too. But again, SEM paint for the win. That SEM or SEM paint, how you want to say it, does good. Now, if I do have to replace the rack, I will. The other thing I want to mention is you guys need to make sure, not so much for those, but for this part here, that you measure the thickness. I believe it's 47, is it 47 millimeters? I'll have to look it up. I'll throw it up on the screen of the actual width, because there's a difference between a Mark IV okay, steering shaft or the steering shaft, power steering rack versus the SC300 in them. And a lot of guys, when you get these rebuilt, you're getting a rebuilt SC300. They're very similar, but the thickness here is slightly different. So you need to be aware of that. So I will, I'll throw that up on the screen if I haven't already, so you guys know what it needs to be. This is, I did measure it, is the correct size. This is the original Mark IV steering rack. 180,000 miles later. That's why I wanted to paint it. It wasn't leaking that I can remember. So I scuffed it, cleaned it as best I could, painted it black. Is it perfect? No, but it's much better than what it was. Because the car, obviously everything else is gonna be nice and new. Didn't want to put a crusty piece back into there. So yeah, let's let those get cold and see how this looks. So obviously this is going to be a little bit different for you guys, as this will be inside the car. Getting this in and out is going to be slightly different, but I want to show you at least the install. And I like this because I can show you guys a little bit clearer definition here. So when it comes to the solid mount on this side, they'll supply, PHR I should say, will supply these two bolts, but you will have to reuse your nuts, and you will have to reuse the nuts and bolts on this side along with washers if you need to run one. I'm not going to run a washer over here for the fact that they're solid now. They're not a soft object, so there's no need to run that washer. Your solid mount is your washer. Now, if you're like me and you want new bolts or you're missing them, I want to go ahead and show you guys the part numbers and the extra amount of bolts and nuts you'll need. So for the bolts for this side, that is the part number there. And then you'll need 4 nuts no matter what. They don't supply nuts for either side. So you need a total of 4 nuts if you're replacing them, and that is the part number for those nuts. And that's everything you'll need. Again, they supply the bolts for the top side of this to clamp it down then, but that's it. So what I'm going to do here is just bolt down the other side here real quick using these nuts. And if you're gonna ask me like what's the torque spec, it's gonna be Ugga Duggas or arm strength. There's no real amount there. Another thing I wanted to show you too, this is slotted. So if you can see there, and down here, it has a little bit of room to like move around or whatever. So if you need to move it this way, but the real reason is that is every subframe is slightly different. You'll see it'll sit flush. So you don't really need to adjust anything, because if you adjust it forward, you'll see it sitting off the back. If I adjust it this way, it doesn't sit right. Wherever it sits flush, so at that moment is where I need to bolt it down right there. And then once it's bolted down, you don't need to mess with those. The only thing you'll use to clamp down the actual rack is this on the front of it then. Very, very simple. So let's go ahead and bolt this down, and then we're gonna go ahead and install the solid mounts in the rack there. So when you're installing this, you'll need a metric number 10 hex key to install it. I have my impact and stuff to do it. I didn't personally have to even hold the nut on the bottom side here. Once I got it all like snugged up just by finger, I just kind of held it like that, hit it with the impact, and I mean, it didn't spin or slip at all, and she's on there tight now. So that's all you have to do for this side. Now for this, you need to physically have the rack to put it on, because you're using the actual pressed in solid bushings to mount it to here. There's nothing extra for this side, but this has to go on first before you can do the other side. So I'm gonna flip this back down now, and we're gonna press the bushings into that, and I'll set up my camera so you can see me do it. So gonna press in this one. I'm gonna do one at a time because I wanna keep them as cold as possible. I'm gonna try and press them by hand, and then I'm going to use this dead blow here to get it in the rest of the way. It was pressing in half decent, but I think it'll go in a little bit better if I smack it in. So let's give this a shot here. All right. That's it. She's in the whole way. That was a lot easier than I thought. Put them in the freezer, guys. Makes this 10 times easier. Put these in the freezer and then, run out to wherever you are. And if you need to, heat up the rack or, put a heat gun on it to get the metal around it, this aluminum here on the rack to help expand it some, but that wasn't bad at all. So let's do the rest. All right, top one next here. Just want to get it at least started. Ooh, this one might be a little bit more not happy with me. Yeah, that one seems like it's gonna fight me a little bit. So we'll see here, guys. See if this one goes in as easily or as nice. We'll find out. This one does not want to go in. There we go. Sweet. Now that one's in. Awesome. All right, next one here. close. A little bit more. Sweet. All right, our last one here goes right here. Holy crap. Getting these on there sometimes, I just get a good whack. It doesn't help using this. There we go. Sweet. All right, now that we've got this installed, we've got our solid bushings installed, we can put it on the rack now. Believe it or not, we can actually install it. I'll just have someone help me then when I'm installing this up into the car, get my dad or someone to help me to line those bolts up, and then it'll just suck it up in then. It's easier probably to do it now too anyways, because I don't take the risk of hitting some other things, but it's pretty easy here. So we've got our top clamp. This doesn't matter as much yet. So once you kind of set this up on, it'll actually sit there, at least because I have it out of the car, it's pretty easy. You don't need to bolt this up until you get this solidly tight. This is where it pretty much aligns everything. You're basing everything off this. This here doesn't get cinched up or do anything until these are fully tight. So do this second. So if I set the camera up here, see if I can get this in a view. I mean, this is pretty straightforward. You just lift it up on, you got your little bushings there, line those up, and that's it. So where's my holes at? Boom. And then you just take your bolts up. Now again, you just sit this kind of loose on there. I mean, this doesn't need clamped up yet. So just sit it like that, like that, like that. I want it loose too. There we go. So if I need to slide or do anything, I can. Where we really need to focus is here and here to try and get this lined up with the nuts and bolts. So got my nuts here, right here. And where's my bolts at? Takes a little bit more oomph than I thought to try and get that to line up. There we go. Oh, come on. There we go. That one's through. Ooh, that's what I was saying. You're definitely not gonna need no washers on this. And then the bottom one here is next, and then you just put this nut on the bottom side of it. So this is what it looks like all said and done, but now everything else is so pretty, I pressed all this and I gotta fold it all out. But I do kind of want to paint this. Might remove these, clean these up. I got some ones that are zinc coated. Might just paint all this. Or just buy new tie rod ends, because probably needs it anyways. Yeah, so just the only thing that looks janky. Might even paint this too. I just cleaned all that off, but some stuff just doesn't want to be painted. And again, if it doesn't work out, I'll just buy a new rack. But that's what it looks like. Very, very happy the way they came out. This one here, what I did was leave this loose, and you have to kind of finagle this, because it is a very tight fit. The bolt just fits through these bushings, and then the same thing with the hole down there. So you have to like kind of shimmy it around, and then I just tapped it with a hammer till it sunk down, and then you can put the nut on, and that takes a 17 millimeter on both sides to tighten that up. Tighten this up already, and it's good. So yeah, pretty awesome product. So you saw in my last video, I lost all those bolts and nuts and stuff, and that's kind of the reason why I had to buy that new. Some other stuff I want to go over in this video is the upper arms here. So for since it's double wishbone, you have your upper and lower arms. The bolts I'm going to reuse, they're fine, they're zinced. I wish they would have done a way better job. Look at the head. This is fine, but the head of it looks like crap. Very disappointed. And they sent back one nut, but not the other one. And I think they sent me one washer back out of the 4. Awesome. So I'm like, screw it, I'll just buy a new nut and 4 new washers. For the washers, here's the part number, and then for the 2 nuts you'll need, there's the part number for that. I just want to show this stuff because I'm starting to take it out of the package, and I know I'll forget about doing it, so I'm just going to bolt it up just so it's loosely in here, so when that time comes, I don't have to dig, and it's already done. I know where everything goes, and I can throw it on a little bit quicker. So I just wanted to show you guys that quick. Another one is these here. These are the mounts that go into the car here that actually hold the subframe on. Now, I got those back, but the anodizing or zinc coating was so bad. Look at the roughness of it. It's so bad that I'm like, all right, I can't do that. And I don't really want it to be zinced. Since this is gonna be on the top part of the engine bay, I want this to be painted. So I can install it like this, wouldn't hurt anything. But I think I want it to be painted silver so it matches the car just like Cat's. Just seems to be the best. So I wanna put those in. Now the part numbers are different from one to one. So one side is that. I don't know which side is which, but and the other side is that. So just the last 2 digits change, so 20 and 10. But yeah, you're gonna need 2 of those, and they are different. One side is different from the other, so just so you know that, you need 2 different part numbers. Another quick thing I wanted to do here, unfortunately, I already had the alignment bolts. I didn't feel like rebuying those because they are fine. They got zinc coated, but it did really screw up the threads. I don't know what they do for their zinc coating, but it's terrible. Highly do not recommend that burnt metals. Absolutely terrible finish, terrible on the threads. I mean, the threads are really coarse. These were brand new. Yeah, so it doesn't matter because we'll get it on, it'll be tight, and it doesn't matter. At least it's coated. But I wanted to show you some of the stuff you need if you're going to do an alignment. If you don't already have the bolts, I don't have the part numbers for that, but this is some of the nuts and washers. And the Toyota that I just ordered from forgot my, unfortunately, they forgot my actual eccentric washers for the other side, so I'll give you that part number 2. But here's the small nut you'll need, which is the 12036. The first set of washers, which is the 11200. Second set of the big washers, 16017. Now, I don't believe you need 4 of these. I believe you only need 2 of those, so that was my mistake. For this here, this 16017, you do need 4 of those. And then you might need 4 of these. I can't remember, so just stay with that. And then the 1602 is the big nuts. They go on this end. Small nuts go on that end there. And then there's an eccentric washer, which, see if I got it on my phone here. That's from Conocelli. And where's it at here? It is the, where's the eccentric washer at? Where washer, back for alignment, camber adjust eccentric washer is 24010, so it's 48198, 24010 there. Yeah, to make it a little bit easier for you guys. So on that note, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. The engine is just, look at it. It's looking so perfect now. I'm getting really excited. I did get these too, these quick clamps from Tarks. But I'm going to be changing this out. So I'm going to be selling this. This is a clamp adapter that works for the Bosch 82 millimeter. What you're going to do is it literally just bolts onto the front of it there. And this makes it a quick clamp then. It also comes with the O-rings, the other side, the other ferrule side. So that goes in here to make your intercooler piping. Comes with a little install guide and stuff. Comes with the bolts that are needed to install it. So it comes with these extra long bolts to go in here to adapt everything. I'm going to be using one from Raceworks, so I won't be needing this. I'm not sure how much I want to sell it for, so if you want to hit me up, this is one of the few that you can get in the US. Actually, I had to order this from Australia because no one makes this adapter here that I could find that comes with everything, because if you don't get the right clamp, because each quick clamp is different, it won't clamp properly and work. This is double O-ringed on this side of it and single O-ringed on this side to keep from a leak-free situation so you don't have any problems. So let me know if anyone's interested. But guys, thank you very much for tuning in today. We're getting closer and closer. That hog's getting picked up. It's going to say bye-bye, and we're going to get this in as soon as it comes back from paint. Talk to you later, guys. Peace.